is so that's like
Like
combining
super
two
random.
sports
I
and
know,
super random.
but it would just been a troll since he lost his job.
Oh God. Good morning, everybody. It is actually 7 o'clock here on the West Coast, which is merciful for the first time in this F1 season. I think we've like progressively gotten later. I think it's like the Bahrain was at like 5, Imola was at 6, Portugal's at now at like 7. Maybe I'll get lucky next time and it's like 8 o'clock and I'll like actually be awake. We're probably gonna have to find a coffee sponsor for this stream at some point. In any case, welcome to the Portuguese Grand Prix here on this first Sunday of May. The second, it is Valerie Bottas on the pole, flanked by his Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton, and then the two Red Bulls. Frank, what a turnaround actually for Bottas, who found himself out of the race with the DNF at Imola after the encounter there with George Russell, making quite the statement today to come back and lead in pole position.
Yeah, this is a fantastic start here for Valtteri, and also a fantastic way to be able to basically get his career, not career, but the start to this kind of season back on track. He's had one of the worst starts he could have had. He said that he worked hard. I was reading some interviews. He's worked hard with his team, with his pit team, and they've gotten it together. It all went to plan this time, and he was able to secure the pole, so this should be good for him. It'll be interesting for Lewis. I mean, he's going to have to be able to catch him and get down on him. We saw in the actual qualifying, they had similar speed. Lewis was going quicker in Q2, but ultimately in Q3, Valtteri was able to take it. Some kind of controversy in qualifying with Verstappen actually setting the quickest lap, but he happened to sort of spin out and had to actually readjust to save, and he actually went over track boundaries, which unfortunately did not allow him to have the track time recorded. But ultimately, he actually wasn't really that upset about it. I mean, that's understandable. You have to adhere to track limits. He was actually more upset about the people in front of him not getting out of his way. And it was actually really funny because on his last hot lap, you could hear on the radio, and they played it for everybody. Lando Norris was on talking to his pit, and his pit team literally said, it's Verstappen's right behind you. You got 3 minutes left. He hasn't even set a time. Don't do him any favors. And didn't really try to fully get out of his way. And Verstappen was really upset about that, which was pretty interesting. But hey, I mean, you try to get any advantage you can if you're any other team, right? So I don't really. It's just sportsmanship, or it's just it's between the teams. I don't think it was too much personally.
The two-tire strategy for today, most teams actually opting to start on the softs, except for Sainz in the Ferrari, who will start on
and
the
good
mediums.
morning, Paolo.
Yes. And there you see just 1 point separating Hamilton from Verstappen, 44 to 43 at the moment. And my computer has completely gone awry. So
you see most of these teams actually, Ferrari was pushing really hard to actually have their drivers start onto the mediums. They almost got kicked out of Q2, believe it or not. And but they were able to hold on to 8th and 9th there to be able to hold on to that spot. And they were actually able to get up into qualifying here. The Discord link is I will put there for everybody.
There you go. And then you got the race going in Discord as well. There was some talk about the wind this week.
Yes, there is a lot of talk about the wind.
Yeah, Hamilton was talking about wind pre-race here.
It's very funny because most of the people that are talking about the track are like, this track is horrible and this has been the worst thing to ever race at because of the wind. This track is actually really it's kind of right on the coast. Believe it or not, it's not that far from it. It's set kind of in the hills, and it has really bad tailwinds coming into turn 5, which means if you have a tailwind coming onto your car, that means you actually have to brake earlier, and it's causing less downforce. So you're losing grip on the car when you have the tailwind. In turn 1, they have a massive headwind, so it's the opposite. They can brake later. In turn 5, we actually saw it. Both Red Bulls came out of the spun out. That's actually where Verstappen got his time eliminated during qualifying, was during that specific time as well. And here we are. They have finished the formation lap, and they will be starting here. Valtteri Bottas, I think, is going to give himself a pat on the back to stop his teammate from getting his 100th pole of his career. I think he is quite excited about that. And
any chance that actually let him win this one?
Yeah, I think so, 100%.
All
And
right.
here we are. We're gonna have lights out. Valtteri Bottas. Everybody seems to be going in their specific order. He's going to be able to hold him. Verstappen's going to stay in third here. It's going to go 1, 2, 3. Verstappen's trying to find space here. Bottas is going to be able to hold on Lewis, and then Lewis is going to be still. Verstappen's going to be on his tail. Nothing too crazy going on yet. And then you have the Ferrari making a pass onto Checo there, and then Checo's actually going to end up behind with Lando Norris right behind him as well. So you see that Perez actually loses a spot there, and the Ferrari is now going to be in between both Red Bulls, and then someone's locked up. I think that's the Aston Martin there, and Vettel, he locked up, but he actually is really just holding the pack
Holding on
behind
for
him.
dear life too.
And then Verstappen is still going to be behind both of the Mercedes. The Ferrari is going to be in fourth. And this is ultimately not the worst position everybody could be in. The really only big changes that we saw was Sainz being able to move up and sneaking between both of the Red Bulls. And Norris here is going to make a move on Ocon going on the outside. And then and then he's right next to Norris. Oh my God, are they going to touch wheels? They don't. He ends up sneaking right behind, but Norris makes the move.
Norris, who had an incredibly fast car, finishing, was it third, right, at Imola? Expected starting sixth today, but definitely expected to be in a position to at least contend here in the McLaren. He's been fast this season.
Yeah, he's
Things
been
looking things looking good here at the start. It is a 66 lap race, about 4 kilometers per, and we have debris. Oh my! And we
Oh,
have
somebody just lost the front of their car.
at least half the front of it. And actually, Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo has lost the front half
That's
of
going
his
to
car.
most likely be a yellow flag there. It seems like the car is somewhat. Actually, the car does not look drivable.
There are interesting note about this track. There are two DRS
Two
zones.
DRS.
There
Yep.
are two DRS zones in this track. The first one coming around, was it turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
It's between 4 and 5
Between
and
4 and
the
5, yeah, in
regular
sector 1.
straightaway.
Exactly. And then the second one coming up in the straightaway after the final left-hand turn in sector 3. So last year there were 58 overtakes in this race, the most in an F1 race, and he just who does he hit here?
I don't.
Because there are two
I
different
don't.
colors of car that go flying today here early
I
in
actually
lap
don't even.
1.
It doesn't even look like he makes contact with anybody.
Oh,
Okay, I lied. He totally hits his teammate.
uh, yeah, but that. Oh, yeah, that is what it happened.
Yeah, he totally ran into his teammate, which
Yeah,
is
it was
very
just going
odd.
straight. But that is the one of the DRS zones, right? So you come around that corner, and then you're able to basically just gun it, and he is out of the car.
Yeah, and here with the safety car, it is going to necessarily change the. I mean, it doesn't necessarily change the dynamic of the race that much, but it's going to get us kind of reset here.
It is. Apparently, chat wants to know if you're making carnitas later.
Yeah, making carnitas for Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.
I got to fill up the cart ready for the delivery.
Except
Also,
that's
interesting note about this track. It is completely sustainable in the sense that it has 250,000 solar or 225,000 solar panels that
nice.
generate enough all of this to be a sustainable track in of and itself.
Does that
Hats
include
off to the
once
people of
like the
Portugal.
people drive on it?
I don't think the fuel that they're using is sustainable.
Yeah, the fuel doesn't quite count. We have to get some carbon offsets for that.
I don't think. Oh, I don't know if anybody caught that, but a bunch of people just ran onto the track, getting the pieces of debris. Unfortunate for Kimi there, but I would have to say hats off to Marzipan or Marzispin not being the first one out this race.
2 races in a
2
row.
weeks in a row, he's
Two
been able to
races in a
stay
row.
in. Here, we're actually going to be able to see that. Yeah,
Well, no,
you
this
actually
was the
see that
start.
the Ferrari doesn't get as good as a jump, and the Red Bull again off of that start got a really good pace on him again, and he's going to try to make that move.
Yeah, but the Ferrari on the outside just kind of eats the Red Bull alive here.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, that's the area there where most of the drivers have gone off the track, and you actually saw a lockup there from Bottas, and then everybody basically locking up going into that turn.
This is a very interesting view here from the helicopter
Yeah,
of the.
this is a really fascinating track. I do remember racing this track on in video games and it being absolutely terrible.
Well, there's that natural elevation change coming around that turn there in the middle, which is also pretty nifty.
And this is with Perez and Signs here.
Yeah, see, the Ferrari just gets the inside there and just takes him up. Kind of a slow start for Perez, honestly.
Yeah, nobody really got that jump that we necessarily expected them to really get. I think it was last race we saw Verstappen get that absolutely absurd jump,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right off the
um,
bat.
and he just hasn't been able to be accomplished that way. But then, yeah, this is where all the traffic is basically starting, and then there's
Some tight racing in the back here. That is like.
I still, yeah, he made contact with his teammate there, just kind of weird. I don't really understand
Yeah, and didn't look like it actually damaged the teammate's car all that much. Oh,
because it
you can
looks like the
see.
teammate slows down.
Yeah, that.
What I don't.
Or he was just going faster, unless he. And they put up DRS that soon? Oh wow. Well, you said the car is undrivable. It's being hoisted off the racetrack at the moment. So remember last week we had a bit of a longer race because they red flagged it after the Bottas and George Russell incident.
Right. Wait, this should.
Those cars that are on the softs looking to probably pit. What was it at 17 or 27? One of those two.
Yeah, on Discord, you got the sound should be coming through, but you need to raise the volume. If I raise the volume, then I can't hear anything.
Oh, there you go.
And the safety car, I think, should be going out on this lap here, so we should be able to get restarted and ready
Yeah,
to go.
this should reset here in just a
And
second.
yeah, so this is one thing that you actually mentioned here was the and this safety car is having a great time going through the apex corners. He's having a great time out there.
Well, the safety
Uh,
car driver deserves to have some fun too. I
so
mean,
one thing we will get to talk to about is actually the aerodynamic changes that rule had to come into play here, affecting the low rate cars versus the high rate cars. Um, but one thing, or before we actually get to that, I do we want them to restart here at least. Okay, they're going to do one more lap. So to the elevation changes that you're actually seeing, one of the main things is like this is the track where actually like the driver literally feels the actual like the stomach type like coming up like actually like you're on a roller coaster like that's actually how fast they're going. It's pretty interesting. Like yesterday during qualifying they actually had the screens in front of me, you could see the g forces, and then when they would drop 60 meters like it was legit like they were going through like a roller coaster and like their heart or like stomach was coming out of them. It was quite hilarious. There aren't that many tracks that have these type of elevation changes, which makes this track really neat um, in general.
all right, we've gone through about 4 safety car laps.
Laps, yeah. But this is kind of better for the people that have the medium tires on because
Get
they're
those
getting a
things
little more
warmed up.
life. Yeah, getting a little more life out of them and getting them more warmed up. Most of the drivers have already used most of their sets. I think they only had 2 race ready sets. Most
They
teams have
did.
already gone through um, most of theirs during qualifying.
All
But
right, this
the issue
should
here
be a
is
good one.
is that so it was really interesting because some may so commonality would basically think that the softs are easier to warm up, but that's actually not necessarily true because you need to get them so much hotter to actually get stickier, which can affect you more negatively than can I just get the mediums hot really quick and then go on the mediums. And that
Well,
was one of the big
it may have
things.
that the way that the Ferrari like moved there off the start may have been as a result of it being on the soft tires versus well, it was only the only one in the top 5 that started with the softs, and he just took out Perez there very quickly.
And then Verstappen. Oh, that's in second. Okay, I was confused for a
Yeah.
second. It's like he's not in second.
Well, he's second. That was the
There,
overall
everybody trying to warm
points.
up the tires, obviously here. Wasn't it in Italy or in Bahrain? Someone spun out doing that.
Did they
Remember?
trying to do the little zigzag?
Yeah, somebody spun
That
out
would
in it,
be.
something like that.
I feel like I could do the zigzag.
Uh, good luck. And safety car should be ending now. I guess the Italians were pretty good at getting the track clear. The Portuguese taking a little longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one took a couple laps here. We're gonna be on lap 7, and the incident happened on lap 2. So 5 laps worth of safety car. That was after everybody hit the pits for some time too. They all went through the pit lane,
Yeah, they actually all did stay there
but they
themselves.
didn't. I couldn't actually do anything in the pit
And here
lane. They just.
and here Bottas obviously has the advantage, but the car in second does have the slipstream advantage coming on the straightaways. So Bottas has to kind of play this in a tricky manner in the sense of he needs to be able to control the pace and also control Hamilton behind him. And I think you mentioned a comment earlier is like, would Mercedes actually let Bottas win this? I don't think they would actually necessarily care because if it's 1-2 Mercedes, they get all the points.
They would get all the points anyway.
And if like Bottas and them want to fight for the championship, they can fight for it. Like, whoa, he almost just spun out there, Bottas. Jesus.
A little loose in the rear there.
Yeah. And they're all getting ready to absolutely just.
And they're coming around this turn here. In sector 3 should restart the race, and it will. So here we go. Finally off
This is
again.
a great view. And then Bottas is going to smack it, and he does.
There are actually some quite nice views of this track that we've had today. Make
Lewis
sure to
is
join us in
definitely
the
going to try to make a
Discord.
move.
Actually, Verstappen is going to make the move. And he's going to get it.
Oh, he's going to get it.
But he's going to get it by a mile. I mean, maybe caught Hamilton sleeping
I think
here.
He caught him completely by surprise.
What? Like, that looked too easy. What a restart. We were complaining earlier about Verstappen didn't get the jump on the restart or on the start that we were thinking.
And then Norris is going to try to make the move on the Red Bull too.
And he's going to get that one too. Again,
and he's going to get it.
Norris and the McLaren being very quick to this morning so far, up into 4th.
Oh, and then side by side here, the Alpine and the Ferraris is going right at it as well. I can't tell exactly who that is. I think it's Ocon, Leclerc. Ocon's going to make the move and gain on it. Leclerc's going to try to come right back at him again, and I think he's going to get him once he cuts in inside on this turn. He does. He regains the place. My God, this restart was more exciting than the
actual start.
Than the actual start, yeah.
6th and 7th for the Ferraris after that one. Verstappen shot out of a cannon and is now a second behind Bottas, the leader here, who has managed to split the Mercedes. Wow, that was actually quite good. That was much better than the original start.
Yeah, so in this case, pretty interesting. Verstappen goes up into second. Perez loses his 4th place. Norris goes up. So he got one. But then here we're going to see a bunch of people try to make the pass. You're going to try to see the pass here. I think it's both of the. I think that's the AlphaTauri and the Williams and the Alpine. And then the Alpine's going to make it through there.
Yeah, this straightaway here on the start is massive. It's insane. Probably one of the biggest ones we've had this season so far. That just straight shot.
And pretty interesting here, they actually made some upgrades to the Aston Martin, but Lance Stroll's car got the upgrades. Vettel's didn't. Vettel's doing better.
Vettel's doing better.
Yeah, so and we're going to see the replay.
Woo! What an incredible pass. Verstappen manages to get the extra boost of speed by sneaking right behind Hamilton's car. No DRS.
Yeah,
no DRS
he
enabled here.
It.
Yep. He even loses it a little bit on the outside there. What an aggressive move by Verstappen.
Wow, that is nuts, actually.
I mean,
he's
been known to make a fair number of aggressive moves on Hamilton already this season.
This is the Norris coming into this turn here. And this is the turn that the Red Bulls have been struggling on with the wind at their backs here. So no surprise there to actually see that overtake there. But I also don't think Hamilton can really almost do anything in that case,
Yeah.
right? Like, what is he?
The other piece of this, though, you were saying about warming up the tires, is you can see there on the bottom of the screen, 39.4 degrees Celsius. It is a balmy for us Americans, 100 degrees.
Yeah, the track temp,
Yeah,
as in like the
it's
ground,
pretty
right?
good.
Yeah. And okay, so this is probably a good time to be able to talk about some of the changes that have actually happened with these cars. So there are two different types of philosophies that go on. There's high rake and low rake. Now, low rake is what the Mercedes, the Aston Martins are kind of built. As you look at the car is actually longer wheelbase to wheelbase. So if you look at the front tire and you look at the back tire, the car is actually like flat. It's horizontal. So the air that's going under the car is basically going into a complete flat
He's
vacuum
gonna have
and
the
nothing
DRS
else.
enabled here. Watch it, watch it. Okay, keep going.
So what the low rate cars were doing, they had a little more actual like platform out of the tires. So if you actually look at the tires, they had a little like another 4 inches of more downforce in front of those tires. They have now told them they have to get rid of that. So they have gotten rid of that. These are some really good pictures where you can actually see the difference. The Red Bull is a high rake car, which means that the back of the car is higher than the front of it and the wheelbase is shorter. So they also had to remove those pieces on the back of their in front of their back rear wheels, and it has affected the low rate cars and their downforce way more than the high rate cars. So the Mercedes, the Williams, the Aston Martins, they're saying they've lost almost a second compared to the high rake cars. And you'll start to notice it more and more. If you look at the Red Bull, it's way more slanted. The rear wheels are way higher and the car is going downwards. And if you look at the Mercedes, it's almost just flat and flush throughout the entire thing. And that small change has actually affected the lower and flatter cars more than the higher cars.
And actually, Hamilton is going to take
He's
back
going to overtake him here.
with Verstappen. Yep. There's a little DRS action. Verstappen trying to get on the outside, though, and take it right back. No, can't get it done. Whew. Little battle here between Verstappen and Hamilton. We're probably going to see that the rest of the day.
If you're Valtteri here, though, you're just
keep driving, throttle.
Yeah, keep driving. Yeah, exactly. This is the greatest thing that could happen, honestly, if you're him.
Yeah,
let
you
these
got your
two just
teammate
battle
back
it out.
there. Teammate holding number 3 down, or holding third place away. So
yeah, that's a great camera angle to actually see how high up the Red Bull is compared to the other cars. And here it's actually very similar, not similar, opposite move that Verstappen did. Verstappen took the outside. Lewis opted to take in the inside here.
Inside there.
And he went really inside. He almost like went in the pit lane. But yeah, if you're Max there's not much else you can really do. You know he has the speed on you, and he's going to have DRS. With the long straightaways like this, you kind of know if the person has DRS enabled, you almost have to let him through. Verstappen most likely is going to be able to get him in 2 laps again on the same DRS, right?
Yeah, let's
so
keep
it kind of goes like back and forth.
Let's keep an eye on that. Because Verstappen is now about a second, and you have to be within a second, right, to be able to activate it.
A second
he's
to activate.
Outside of that right now, it's about 1.2. So he's got some ground to make up if he's going to want to pull the same move back.
And Verstappen is on the radio saying he wants more power. Also, very interesting. With this track, it is actually such a long track. It's 2.89 miles. The battery and the way how you have to charge and use the engine is extremely important in this race. Like the actual mechanics and the people behind the scenes are there changing the settings and changing the charge so you can actually have enough boost in the engine. It's extremely important on this track because of how long it is and where you can regenerate that power.
Wait, What do you mean? These are gas cars, dude.
No, they're hybrids
Oh, they're high. Okay. Sustainability.
and also faster.
That's well, yeah, more get up acceleration.
Yeah, exactly. More straight line speed, all that type of stuff. There's no lag. That's when Mercedes really took over and started winning everything. Is when they switched to the hybrid engines.
Ah, there you go. Now Hamilton at this point could basically run down Bottas if he wants to, and then basically say, all right, Bottas, you deal with Verstappen.
Yeah,
And
I don't know what that sign was, but the DRS was enabled there. He's almost up into 0.3 seconds, but he's still not going to be able to pass him. I mean, at this point, you're just like, just please don't hit each other.
yeah, but he's also putting in the fastest lap. This is the second time Hamilton has put in the fastest lap so far today. The first time was right when he was about to get Verstappen.
Yeah, so this could easily be the conversation where Toto gets on and he's just like, "Hey, look, he's going faster than you. You need to let it by."
Well,
We
that's what
actually
I
had
was saying.
we had the yeah, I know. We had the similar incident last race with the McLarens when Norris was sitting behind Ricardo and Ricardo was
Yeah,
legit
and
going
they
like
just
so slow.
they let Ricardo just go, well, they let Norris go and ended up getting third, right? So
I don't. I still don't really understand what's going on with Ricardo. He's one of the better drivers out there, one of the most experienced drivers as well. But he just, I just, I just don't think he understands the car yet. To be completely honest with you, because it makes no sense. Norris is literally in qualifying. He has the potential to literally come pole like in the last two qualifyings. The car is wicked fast, and Ricardo just never ends up there.
still no DRS uh, ability here for Verstappen. Hamilton does get, well, could use it if he wanted to. I think the Mercedes just putting in a bit more distance here, separating one and two. I guess at this point we might have to wait for the first pit strategy to see.
To see any wild
Yeah,
changes,
to
I
see any
guess.
wild
Really,
changes.
yeah.
Because it looks like Hamilton and Bottas are just kind of out there doing their thing right now. There's plenty of distance between third and fourth.
Yeah, it's
And
really the top three and then everybody else type thing. And then everybody else is kind of just right behind each other. The interesting thing about this track is very like NASCAR in the sense of like everybody's like just right on each other's tail. It's because it's such a long track in that sense. It's just like everybody's like literally just lined up right behind each other. On other tracks, like in Italy, you saw them more like side by side, kind of more bunched up into different groups. This one's like more of just like a streamline.
there's yeah, big gap between fifth and sixth as well. 3 seconds worth between Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. And it looks like we're
And
actually going to have Perez that might overtake the McLaren here in a second.
yeah, and we're also starting to look at the actual age on the track or on the tires here. You're seeing Norris with softs up to 17 laps, and then most of these, I mean, Bottas and them already have 17 laps on theirs. So as you said before, we most likely will be seeing some changes in tires here, and that's when the strategy will kick in.
But
You
the
could also
mediums
be
can go
looking.
longer, so
Mediums can definitely go
they
longer.
can go to like 27, 28 is what the projection was.
The thing here is that Perez is like if you're Red Bull, you're almost begging Perez like you got to push because you got to be able to make it into a position to where you can pit and go long and short to be able to play the game on the Mercedes
Yeah,
cars.
well,
But
he's like
he's too far back.
he's six
He's too
seconds
far back
behind
to
right
make it
now.
work right now. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're Horner, you're like you got to at least make it. You got to get closer. You have to get closer to Max to be able to because that's affecting their strategy and what they want to do.
Well, the Mercedes were saying earlier that they might also opt for a split strategy. And by the way, make sure to up the Discord if you need the race itself. We got the little watch party going on there for folks. And this is the overtake here by Perez. That looked easy. Well,
Yeah, that was
there's your
easy
DRS on the
actually.
straightaway.
And here's going to be the Yuki Tsunoda on the old man. Wow, nice move there actually.
He puts himself into 15th at the moment. So yeah, the gap between it's a 6 second gap between Verstappen and Perez. That's your third to fourth, and then it's another second and a half there to Norris, and it's pretty much everybody's about a second and a half after. Remember the Imola race had the giant reset, right, with the red
Yeah,
flag.
Imola was kind of crazy in the sense it was like two races in one because you had like the pouring rain, then the red flag, and then it was like dry again.
Right.
And
And
I don't
Hamilton
think it's
got a
going to be
lease on
raining
life
here.
there.
Yeah, Hamilton got the luckiest thing ever in the world. That crash with the Williams car was the luckiest thing could ever happen to Hamilton. But I
Because he
mean,
was a lap
whatever.
down.
He took advantage of it, right? So you do whatever it happens. But it was you can't say it wasn't lucky.
No, I mean it definitely was. Bottas still in the lead here, half a second in front of his teammate Hamilton, second and a half in front of Verstappen. Oh, actually, no, 2 seconds in front of Verstappen. It's the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen continues to grow, 1.7 at the moment. Hamilton putting in the fastest lap yet again. About a minute 20 seconds is going to just take these
Yeah,
folks to go
and
around.
also Hamilton's able to kind of get the faster lap because you also have to think about Bottas is breaking the wind in front of him, which gives him technically he is able to actually go faster in that sense. He does have the slipstream. So, but then again, Valtteri should be able to just punch through and just be going as fast as he needs to. But I do think that at this point, if you're both of them, you kind of just want to control the race and just go as long as you can on those two tires.
Yeah, you can also see Hamilton's DRS is enabled there. So he should be able to go fast.
But you see what I'm talking about with the Ricardo? Like he should be like the fact that the McLaren's so far down makes no sense to me.
Ricardo
Like,
in 11th at the moment.
yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. While Norris is like able to, I mean, Norris is literally faster than the Ferraris, like, and consistently, he's been doing that throughout the season. Like, it begs the question, like, what's kind of going on? Or do they have two completely different cars?
I would get. I guess I was about to say they're putting all the good stuff in the Norris car.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
well, there is a tire difference. There is a tire difference here today between the two McLarens. Norris is on the softs at the moment. Ricardo on the mediums.
Yeah, because Ricardo didn't qualify.
Okay, well, Ricardo now moving up into the 10th position. And now he's in 10th at least. So there you go. Closing the gap. He's about 7 seconds behind his teammate Lando Norris, who sits in 5th. It is the grid looks the same way as the starting grid at the moment. Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Perez. And then the only difference being there that the Ferraris have fallen slightly behind, now sitting in 6th and 7th.
Is Ricardo going to be able to make the move on Vettel? I think he can. Yeah, I think Vettel actually almost like let him go through there.
Yes, he does. That's how he finds his way into 10th. The wind, though, doesn't seem to be as much of an issue as it was in qualifying. 0.8 meters per second is like 2 miles an hour.
And it's like actually going the opposite way it's supposed to. It typically goes the other way, so then in turn 5, they have the tailwind. So it's like actually reversed the wind direction, and it's negligible.
Yep. It would actually help if it was blowing. It would help you on the straightaway.
Correct. But ultimately, this is probably the first day the drivers are like, "Thank God." Like let's just kind of drive. In that sense.
Yeah, I think at this point we're basically waiting to see the action around in another 10 laps or so would be my guess as far as the first set of pits.
Yeah, this is a good shot of basically the top 3 in the gap between both of the cars, or all 3 of the cars there.
1.5 seconds, the gap right now between second and third. Although, Hamilton just put in another fast lap, 122.7.
Oh, interesting. That's a really interesting point by the commentator that I'm stealing commentating plagiarism.
There you go.
But when you're behind, you're technically using your tires more because you actually have to catch up, and you do in the sense of when there's no air in front of you and you can go faster. Well, that also means you don't have downforce, right? So that makes it actually have more wear and tear on the tires.
Yeah,
very interesting point.
Hamilton's in the best position of all of them at the moment.
No, but he's having more wear and tear on his tires because he gets less downforce. So his tires are going to be worse off than Bottas's.
I see.
The person in second always technically can go fastest, but they technically also have more wear on the tire, which is makes sense actually if you think about it.
Still not. He's not really pushing it though. Like, I mean, he could. Oh my! He might try the overtake,
Oh,
and he will actually. He
and he
is.
does.
All right, I eat my words. I said he wasn't pushing it. He did on that one. Hamilton going to catapult himself into first, using the DRS to overtake his teammate Bottas, and he's going to leave Bottas out to the wolves here. Go deal with Verstappen, which is not the situation that you would want to put yourself in. Verstappen actually trying to make his own move here. Looks like he might want to hunt Bottas.
Yeah, and see, yeah,
Blazing fast here. Wow. Overtaking around the
I'm
outside
not.
too.
I, that was weird from Botas. I don't really understand.
Did he catch him sleeping?
Kind of. That was odd. It was very weird. He just kind of like let him go by, or
Now, I mean, Verstappen out hunting right now, about 0.8 behind Bottas. If Verstappen gets a DRS on the straightaway, if he can
Ricky
actually keep the
Bobby.
gap, he might get it too. And here we have the straightaway here on lap 21.
And Chad saying he pulled Ricky Bobby and Hamilton is selfish. He won't let his teammates win. I don't disagree with that. I mean,
200 miles an hour on the straightaway.
And straight back down to 80 or 60 miles an hour.
That is unfathomable. I was going 80 on my way back from Portland yesterday. It was fast.
Yeah, and they're going at a hairpin turn that fast. I think you flip with
straight
the
shot on I-5 there at like 11 o'clock at night at 80 miles an hour, and I was like, yeah, making it happen.
This is how it feels to drive F1.
Yeah, exactly. All right, the gap between first and second extending here as Hamilton is able to create a gap that Bottas wasn't, and Verstappen still in the hunt. Just less than a second separates second and third. This might get very interesting if Verstappen is able to overtake before the pit stop.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If he can actually get himself in between both of the cars, that's when the the light bulb goes off for Red Bull. But I don't think he's going to be able to get there.
I don't think he does have the DRS on that straightaway, but he isn't able to close the gap enough. And Frank, we have our first pit of the day.
We do, the Ferraris.
Yes.
Which I think in their case would make sense. They don't have anything to lose in this case by pitting first. Okay, so they're actually going to make Sainz go in first. Interesting. Well, we all know they prefer Leclerc over Sainz, so this makes sense.
Something to say that he's out? No. Okay, he was in the pit there. So
that was that was 2.2. Wicked pit stop there from Ferrari. That was exceptional with 2.2 seconds right there. And I think he's going to come out ahead. Nope, he's actually going to be behind the Williams, but he should be able to make up that time and be able to get out there. Then again, this lap is going to be somewhat slower for him. Those tires are cold as could be. Well, I'm sure they're warm. But...
onto the mediums. So was on the softs, has now switched onto the mediums. Will look to go the distance on those tires. This is a two-stop strategy race. One stop, rather. Sorry. Two-tire race. One stop. And actually, now the McLaren is in. So let's start doing math here, chat. We had the softs coming in at lap 21, 22.
You're going to see the mediums come in at probably 30, 32. And then double it up. Yeah, exactly. And then they're going to go on to the mediums. So they're going to try to get at least 40. So, I mean, if you're on the mediums and you're going to be out in front, you're going to have at least like 5 to 10 laps of tire on the people that started with softs first.
Yep. And now Norris also switching onto the mediums.
Decent pit stop. Okay.
3.3.
Oh! They almost just smacked each other.
Oh, coming into the pit there?
Yeah, that was so
I
close.
missed that.
Oh my God. Ocon and Norris almost just absolutely smashed each other. Really good job from the Alpine team there with the 2.5 second pit stop. Giovinazzi, nice job from the Alfa Romeo as well. 2.5 Vettel. The Aston Martin crew, a decent 3.3 second pit stop there. Everybody switching on to the mediums besides Giovinazzi and Ocon, who switched on to the hards and Tsunoda as well.
The fastest sector one time just being booked by Verstappen at the moment, and Perez actually booking the fastest sector two time. So the car's looking faster than ever right now at the
Yeah, that's the
moment here
straight
by the
line
Red Bull.
speed aspect, I think, of those Red Bulls. Well, for Sector 1. Sector 2 is not as straight.
No, sector two is like the least
The
straight of
farthest
all
thing
of
from
them.
straight. Yeah, exactly.
But sector three not so bad either with being straight. I mean, half of sector
And
three is
this is
basically the first straightaway.
these are two people on brand new tires. So this is actually interesting, the Norris and Sainz situation here, just because they're both on brand new tires and they both don't really have that much grip. So it's interesting to see how much they really want to push it. Also,
Verstappen
this
keeps chewing into the distance here. He's just hovering about between 0.5 and 1 second behind Bottas. DRS for the Ferrari, trying to
he's
get the
going to try to
McLaren.
get it, but I
Nope.
don't think he's going to be able to catch him. The McLaren is stupid fast on the straightaways, like dumb fast. And that's their actual biggest advantage is a straight line speed. That's why they do so well in qualifying.
What was the radio message by Verstappen?
Just saying how that Hamilton is clear air and still a lot of way to go.
Ah.
Hamilton complaining about a lot of wear on his tires. I mean, as we kind of explained before, when you're second and you're chasing, there's typically more wear on your tires, so that does make sense into why he's complaining about that.
Verstappen now with the DRS enabled here on the straightaway, and still can't quite to make up much gap either. I mean, he basically starts the straightaway a second behind and finishes at about 0.6, and so happening every time. He's going to have to make up some ground elsewhere because it ain't
That's a
going to be
cool
there.
camera shot. Gasly pitting.
You're right. Ocon went on.
But
Hards.
I was going to say the scenery of this track is quite beautiful.
It is quite nice.
It is like up in the hillside. It's really cool.
This little elevation change here is quite cool.
I have to say it would be very different than Miami.
Where are they even going to race in
At
Miami?
the Hard Rock, at the stadium. So they're going to make the inside a track.
Wait.
They make
What?
the inside of the track. Yeah, like in the Hard Rock Stadium, like the inside.
Brandy, Hard Rock Stadium is a football stadium.
I know. Hold on, let me look it up.
It's not gonna work. You can't just like make a football stadium into like an F1 track. It's not big enough. Like NASCAR's over in Homestead. Like it's like sponsored by Hard Rock. Doesn't mean
The
it's
Hard Rock
actually
Stadium will be circumnavigated by F1's newest track.
Oh, around, not inside. Like around the outside of the stadium.
Hold on. I'm actually kind of curious now.
Leclerc is now being called into the pit. The second of the two Ferraris at 26. And they're going to put him on hards.
Yeah, it's around all of Hard Rock.
Yeah, it's around.
So they like actually race on like 95.
Nice.
Or not 95, but like the streets around it, which is kind of cool.
All right, so
Anyways.
Leclerc going on to hards.
Verstappen's gotten that gap down to under 0.6. He's going to make a move on the next straight.
Okay, now he's got a 0.5. So now he's got an opportunity.
Because I'm pretty sure the gap that Lewis had on Max was 0.5, 0.6 when he got the overtake. I think this straightaway is long enough. I think in Imola, we almost saw it that it was like you had to be in closer time. And I think the Alpine's going to be able to make the move on the Williams. The Williams kind of locked up there a little bit, and he's easily going to make that move. Good job by Ocon there on Russell.
Hamilton posting the fastest lap yet,
And
122.131.
I lied. Verstappen not able to get closer to Bottas there, even with DRS on that straightaway.
Yeah, the straight line speed, the Mercedes are still winning, it looks like. Verstappen just can't quite get this. Like I said, he's going to have to make up the time somewhere else, probably in Sector 2, because it ain't happening on the straightaway. And you said, so actually, so this was last lap. Verstappen made up a quarter of a second, 0.25. So he's getting slightly closer, but
it's not going to be enough to
not
actually be
enough.
to
This one might be,
push.
though. Now he's pretty close.
The Hamilton Bottas thing is interesting because I can't tell if Hamilton's just pushing his tires harder or Bottas is taking care of his tires more.
Bottas looks
Or they're
like he's a
just
bit
not.
better going in and out of the turns, though, even.
I think
Looks
he
like he's
has less
taking
straight
better
line speed.
angles.
Oh, that tire is shot.
Look at the tire there on the
Yeah.
right front. Look at the rear on the right front. You can totally see that line. Look how obvious that is.
Also, that's a great shot of when I was talking about the rake part and what they used to have more actual car covering the rear tire there, which is pretty easy to see. It has been taken away.
The top 7 yet to pit at the moment.
Stroll low-key has been doing quite well here. Not going to lie. He actually did not do a very good qualify. Actually, I take that back. He hasn't pitted. That's probably why he's up so high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Up to
that's
7th. Has
definitely
not
why.
yet pitted.
Yeah, never mind. So he's really actually
And on
behind.
softs. So he's put in 28
He's
laps
going
on softs.
really far
Yeah.
on the soft tires because Vettel I don't think's pitted either on his mediums, has he?
Yes.
Or no, what
yes.
he did pit.
Vettel
Yeah.
did pit.
So that's what they're doing. They're sending Vettel on the short strategy and they're sending Stroll long on the softs.
Yeah, the only remaining car on soft tires at the moment is Stroll.
Kind of makes sense if you can make it to like 30 with them on. I don't think it's actually the worst thing in the world if he does.
The gap still, though, here between second and third, 0.6. Oh, that Verstappen manages to go off the road a little bit there. Loses the 10th.
Yeah, it's so they've been more strict about the actual restrictions.
There's the
on the track.
DRS.
I don't think he's got it.
He just doesn't have the straight line speed for it.
No.
He just doesn't have it.
Yeah, he didn't make it. Maybe the next time.
I mean, it's kind of been the same way. The gap has just been. I just don't think
they're
he has it
talking
right
about
now.
a possible undercut with the hard tires for Verstappen here, which is kind of an interesting Bottas team radio.
Now, who are they going to bring in first? They're going to bring in
Bottas
Hamilton
is going to be
first or
coming
Bottas?
in first. Bottas comes in first. Turns out that interesting that Verstappen can't actually use third gear. It's stuck or lagging.
Well, there you go.
So maybe that's why he can't get past him on the straightaway because he can't get out of third gear. That would make sense.
Well, that would probably hurt more going down, shifting down on the turns, which is probably why he can't hit them as hard. Let's see. He's going to try again.
And yeah, he's going to activate DRS again, but I don't think he's going to get close enough. He's thinking about he's not close enough.
No, not a chance. I mean,
Williams
he does shrink it to he shrinks it to like 0.4, and that's about it.
Yeah, he can't get it down any more than that. There's no way.
So he needs to. He probably needs to shave off at least another 0.2 before the DRS is really within striking distance. And then if you're like within 0.2, yeah, like, who knows?
That building in the middle there, like without COVID, would be so cool.
Looks like a control tower.
Yeah, it'd be so awesome. Imagine having like a party on the roof. Yeah, that helicopter is. Imagine being the driver of that thing. And there's the coast. It's actually a really nice shot there. You got to see how actually close to the coast it is, which is pretty surprising because there is no wind today. When
Yeah.
yesterday was absolutely blowing. It was like
Well, you can
legit
see
gale
that
force winds.
it's kind of dead out on the water. So,
Yeah.
well, yesterday they were saying it was up to 30 kilometers an hour, which
Yeah, it
is
was
like
nuts.
for the
Yeah, it's
miles
crazy.
people is like 18 to 20, it's like gusting 18 to 20. So like
It's like actually a
it's
problem.
that's like actually windy. Like you could sail it. All right,
That's
so
like when you're driving your car on the highway, it actually moves.
he's got the DRS here too, but it's just
Not going to make it
not gonna make it.
because it's still at 0.7 at the beginning. He needs
Yeah.
to be under 0.5 to even have a chance.
The two Williams cars,
Maybe a
however,
Williams car. Yeah, Russell's going to make the move on Latifi there and definitely get it. I guess they're having a little battle for last.
18th.
Last, yeah. Battle for last.
Well, better than being second to last, I suppose.
Yeah, fair enough. But as these teams that have smaller budgets, they have actually stopped focusing really on their current cars and they have more focusing on the future cars and the changes next year to develop those cars further. When you don't have as many resources or money, that is kind of a logical move investment wise. So that is something to note. These lesser teams that don't have as much money have worse cars off this year than usual because they have decided to spend their money and invest their money in the future rather than that.
Well, there you go. All right, we're almost halfway through the race here. It is a 66 laps race.
I feel like it's gone by really quickly. But
well, there hasn't been a red flag today, so and
yeah,
Hamilton just posted the fastest lap, so 121.9.
He's posted the fastest lap on the tires that are ancient, basically.
Yeah. Well, the top four still have not pitted, and it is still the two Mercedes and the two Red Bulls. But the interval between second, but like Hamilton just keeps putting trees here. Let's see, he's gonna try it again. He's got the DRS, but this is still too far.
Yeah, it's too far. Yeah, he goes from 0.7 to like 0.5 with the DRS. It's not long
just like
enough.
It's not enough. So
it's
still chasing.
It's straight up just not enough. I guess it actually does make sense. The commentator does make a good point here. They are going faster. I mean, the cars literally are weighing less.
Yeah, I mean it's that part's true, but the piece that's a little worrying for Verstappen is to like he's just not making any ground elsewhere elsewhere on the track.
Yeah, basically it's like I can't even catch Bottas. Oh, he went really wide there. That was a mistake. It's like he can't even necessarily catch Bottas. Yeah, that was a really bad mistake. That dropped him back at least.
He puts in the fastest sector one time and then makes that mistake and just gives it all back. And here we're coming around the final turn, and now he's finding himself.
He's not even gonna be able to use DRS.
No, he's outside.
I couldn't tell if that was a lockup or he just went way too wide. But you also see how he was like carrying way less speed into that corner.
Hamilton saying that his tires are gone. I mean, it has been 32 laps. We expected them to pit 27, 28 on the mediums, at least the leaders. And so they've been getting as much as they can out of it. I mean, what's the benefit to keep going on those tires at this point?
At this point, it's the more you can push and the more you can actually just stay in the lead on it means that you're controlling the race, right? So then if you switch on the mediums and you only have 20 laps needed on the mediums, you go all out, right? Like you don't need to save the tires. You don't need to go any necessarily slower. It allows you to, at this point, if they're going to even go to 40, they may even throw the softs on. Like,
I see.
But even as Mercedes, they've said that the mediums on this track are the best. No matter what the situation is, the mediums are the best tire for this track for the Mercedes cars.
There you go. Another fastest lap registered by Hamilton. 300ths faster than the last one. 121.6 is where we're at right now. This is more or less the same as the lap times that we saw in Imola 3 weeks ago.
They do a pretty good job of keeping it all.
I was gonna say I think I thought Imola was also like a 66 lap race. It was
It
pretty close.
like 62 or
Yeah,
like
it's just
63,
about.
something like that. Yeah, I think Bahrain was the longest track actually, because that was like 50 something laps.
They're all the same. Remember, they're all the same distance. The overall race is the same distance. You just like the number of laps changes based on how long each track is. But you always race the same amount, which is like the 300, almost 400 kilometers ish, something like that, right?
Yes. So this is something. Okay.
No other significant incidents so far today, as outside of the one on lap two.
So one thing to actually note, which is kind of interesting, not
Nice shot here.
specifically about this race, but the actual format of F1 qualifying is going to be changing, which is kind of interesting. It hasn't been debuted yet. All the teams did approve it, but it is going to be at 2 European venues and 1 non-European venue, and they're going to try it this year. The changes are quite fascinating. It is basically the same concept of Q1 qualifying, but it's the same concept you have now, but take Saturday's qualifying and put that in Friday. And that
Okay.
qualifying actually sets you up for a 100-kilometer race on Saturday. On
Oh,
Saturday, the 100-kilometer race, whatever that ends up in the order, that determines the pole.
so okay, because right now the way they do it is they run 3 sprints, if you will, right? And each time you knock out 8 people, essentially,
Yeah,
right?
five, and then last.
Okay, and then the last. So the first time the bottom 5 drop out, they don't pass to the second qualifying. The next one, the 5 slowest drop out, and then it's the final 10, essentially, right, on
Correct.
the final qualifier. And then that order is that order. Verstappen into the pit. Verstappen,
This is the big first
this
move
is it.
here. The Red Bulls
Verstappen
have
into the pit at lap 36.
to be honest with you, they kind of need to make the move first.
Verstappen could not catch Bottas. We kept saying
Are those
that.
hards?
Yes.
Interesting. That was a very good pit there. 2.3 seconds. He's going to make really good time. This puts pressure onto the Mercedes cars. Think about this. If Bottas's pit goes 3-3, Verstappen's in front.
Yeah, that was about the gap. 1.3 was the gap. Oh wow, what a lockup!
Yeah, that is nuts. By the way,
Holy cow! He had to slow down, right? Because he was.
Yeah,
If
you
if
can't
you
go over.
speed in the pit lane, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 second penalty.
Just totally locked up the cars, but the tires don't matter at that point anyway, so you may as well just run them flat. The projected gap here between.
Four
Oh wow,
percent chance of overtake. I guess the
2.7.
gap got way bigger then.
Well, no, he's closing it now.
Yeah, this is totally gonna change.
Bottas is into the pit, and Bottas will be in at 37 and will go to hards.
Yeah, they're going to go into the hards as well. So see how fast this pit is. It's got to be a good one by the Mercedes team. It is. It looks like a
No,
smooth one as well.
3.3 though. That
Yeah.
was a second slower.
So that's the second. It's going to be close. Holy Jesus. You can see him on the map. It's coming. It's coming. Yep. That's it.
Is Verstappen
He's going to
gonna
be
get it or
behind
not?
him. Ah, nope.
No, Bottas is
Verstappen.
still
Nope.
ahead.
Bottas has got him. But he's going to be carrying a lot more speed and slightly warmed up tires. He may be able to try to pick him up here on the next
He's going to try to take the
one.
inside. A little shake
He's
there by Bottas.
Oh, and the new tires are both
Verstappen on the
spinning.
inside.
Oh, is he going to find the...
He's going to, yes,
He's
now
gonna
he's got
DRS?
mid-car, and he's going to take the inside as well. No,
Yeah,
there's
he's
no
got him.
DRS there. Verstappen is going to overtake. Finally, we got some excitement going there. There you go. Verstappen into second. Whew, shot out of a cannon.
That was an exceptional move there by Max. And I can't say we didn't call it.
It was
We
close.
said if it was
we said
3-3, it was going to be a problem.
Yeah, and exactly it was. It was 1 second slower than Mercedes pit stop
I mean,
to the Red Bull one, and that made the difference. As Verstappen is able to overtake Hamilton in the pit now, had about 3.5 seconds clear. He pits at 2.5, so he
2.5.
should be able to hold
I mean,
this.
if you give Potas a 2.5, he's fine.
Yeah, so Mercedes pit crew griefing again.
Yeah, it's just
Wasn't it in
totally.
Bahrain where they griefed too?
Yeah, they mess. Yeah, he got screwed again. No, in the first. Yeah, in the
Yeah, in
first race,
Bahrain.
he got screwed. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Is like, oh, if you gave him Lewis's pit time, he would have been fine.
Yeah. All right. So he gets griefed again.
Just absolutely roasted. Yeah, and you actually saw the radio just come on and say it's going to be a tricky warm up, and you literally saw Hamilton like lose the back end there, and that's the problem too. When you're coming
Still
right out
losing
of
the back end. It looked like he
when you're
turned 3
coming out of
times
the-
to make that turn.
when you're coming out of the pit like that, you have like those hard tires are like it's like driving on ice basically. Like they're literally not like touching. They're not gripping the ground at all. It's actually terrifying. It's literally like you're skating. Not that I have any personal experience.
The little Ferrari battle there. It's still Leclerc and Sainz been basically following each other around the track the entire day.
They've kind of had their own race.
Yeah, Ferrari's
They're
in their
like-
own little world.
They're like weirdly like not quick enough to compete with certain cars, but like in their own category. It's, yeah, I mean that was a good move there. He had it.
So
I feel so
one
bad for
extra
Bottas,
lap,
man.
one extra lap makes the difference. As the little extra grip there by Verstappen manages to put himself into second. However, there's still quite a gap. 3 seconds between Verstappen and Hamilton here. And to be honest, I wasn't seeing very much out of Verstappen that would really indicate that he can actually close 3 seconds. I don't know.
I don't think he can.
I mean, he could barely close a second on Bottas, and it took the pit change to do it. So, which you're not going to get another pit at this point.
No. Basically, Perez here is hoping for an accident. Right? There's no other way he can.
I mean, he's gonna come back into fourth, I guess. He's hoping the accident isn't him.
Yeah, but if he could, like, if there's an accident, he pits right now and he's first.
How does that work? Oh, because he can't pass.
Yeah. That's the long short strategy, I guess, that they're basically playing here. I'm also. I need to use the restroom for 30 seconds.
Oh, there you go.
I'm about to explode.
That time of the race there.
It's that time of the race.
Yeah. Make sure to tune in on Discord, folks, if you need the race itself. We are on lap 40 out of 66. And Discord there in the chat. Whoops, I actually clicked the literal Discord there. Whoops, that's not right. Discord, if you need the race itself, we got the little private watch party going on. And I need to close that. Close. Go away. There we go. Perez currently looking as if he's in first place, but has not yet pitted. And he isn't going to finish the race on one set of tires, so I mean, that would
You can try.
I was going to say, like, is it even possible? He's got 20 laps to go.
He can try, but I don't think he'll. I don't think he's going to end up on the track at the end of that one.
That would be wild.
And also appreciate everybody hanging out in Discord and on YouTube. It's awesome. Thank you for the thank you all for the support. Appreciate it very much.
Perhaps not as exciting as the first two races. Not as much. We saw a lot of overtakes here last year, but not as much today.
Yeah, this hasn't been as a wide. This has been more of a like strategy, long drawn out type of race rather than kind of the first two we've seen were absolute just wild, all over the place type races. So it's quite different. Also, if you're hanging out at Discord, don't forget to also hang out on YouTube uh, as well.
Hamilton interval to first 11.7. Yeah, it would be kind of odd. Maybe if you had the hard tires from the start, you could have done it, but probably not.
True, but nobody's going to be able to qualify on hards.
Yeah. You have to start with what you qualified?
You have to start with what you qualify in Q2.
In Q2?
Yeah, in qualifying two.
Huh.
That makes it so then when Q3 happens, they can all put softs on and go as fast as possible.
I see. Okay.
So that's why you can basically say to yourself, like, oh, I just want to hold off because I want to start the race on mediums. So then like kind of smaller teams will be like, I'm going to go on smalls. I don't care about starting the race on soft. So I'm just going to go as fast as I can.
Got it.
And here is going to be the Ricardo pit, really late one. I'm wondering if they throw him on medium. No, hards as well.
Yeah, it's much slower pit there. 4.8 seconds.
Yeah, that's awful. Unfortunately, it just doesn't get any better for him.
He loses 5, 6 positions there.
It's brutal. And he's also got to at least warm up the tires for 2 laps, so he knows he's going to be struggling in the back there. And then that Ocon and Sainz gap is actually a lot smaller than. I mean, it's under 0.5. He's actually pretty close. So that is kind of the battle there.
Look, this is labeled slow stop. Although it really is kind of like the top 4 and everyone else. Norris is 27.7 seconds behind Bottas. Norris in 5th at the moment, Bottas in 4th. I'm curious. That one kind of snuck up on me, to be honest. I didn't realize they were actually opening that.
The Bottas and Verstappen one?
No. Like the top 4 were like we knew the top 4 were basically racing by them like their own thing, but I didn't realize the gap was
really
so
top
long.
3, right? Because technically Perez is like way further back.
Yeah, well, Perez is just gonna like, he's just. Well, Hamilton keeps closing the gap here. It was about 13 seconds when Hamilton originally pitted. It is now down to 9.4. So he's just losing. Perez is just losing road here to Hamilton.
Ocon trying to find a route through the back here. The Sainz actually getting pretty close.
Although you might not need to put Perez on hards.
The problem is they use up the mediums so much during qualifying that I don't know if they can get the full length out of those tires because they use the fresh mediums to start the race, right? So then they technically only have used mediums, but they could throw them on those. I don't see why not with only 22 laps left.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
As Hamilton just continues to put the hammer down. Another 121.3.
So this is the conversation where it kind of irks me. And our dad always says this. And he doesn't actually think Lewis is as good as a driver as everybody else. And he thinks it's just kind of more of the car. But as more as I watch F1, hold on. Toto, they're encouraging Bottas. So, all right. So back to my kind of point here. There's a sentiment in F1, a sentiment. Oh, the Alpine's actually going to make the move, and he actually does make the move on Sainz. Really nice move for the Alpine and Ocon. And then the next one he's got to hunt down is the next red Ferrari.
That's Leclerc. It's about 4 seconds.
Extremely disappointing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Ferraris are just sitting here like minding their own business, and the Alpine just it's like, all right, enough party with the Italians.
Really nice move there. He took that's the same move. It was basically you could take the Lewis and
That was the
Valtteri
Verstappen
situation
move.
there.
That was the
Yeah,
Verstappen
the
move on the
Verstappen one.
outside.
So kind of what they were saying that back to what I was saying. There's a sentiment that it's like, oh, Hamilton just has the fastest car, and if you put any driver in it, they would just go as fast. But like the more and more I actually watch F1, I think the more and more that's not true.
Well, technically, Red Bull's car is supposed to be faster.
Correct. Because you actually see like he's actually faster than Bottas.
Yeah, he is.
Like he actually is. So like I don't know. The more and more I watch the sport, I think the more and more it becomes debunked. That like he's actually just a really good driver.
Yeah, he is basically. Striking distance here for Bottas, they're saying, is within 2 laps. I kind of find that hard to believe, to be honest.
I
The
find that
interval
hard
is
to
two
believe as
seconds.
well.
Like, there's no way.
Because we've actually seen that you
Like, we've seen, like,
because you
Verstappen
can't even with
couldn't-
0.7. Yeah,
Yeah.
0.7.
Verstappen couldn't catch him, and the gap was 0.7. And now you're saying the gap is 1.9. The AWS little stat there is off.
Yeah, I don't think that makes sense unless
Sorry,
something
sorry,
is
AWS,
way,
you got it wrong.
I really
to go
don't
back.
think that's right.
We need to go back to the ML model. Maybe 20 laps, but
And
not two.
he also just put in the fastest lap. Well, then Bottas just actually put in the fastest lap right behind him. So never mind. I guess that motivational speech from Toto there was.
Yeah, but the interval hasn't changed. It's still 1.7. So.
Don't disagree.
And it's not like 1.8.
I'm not saying that they were right.
The prediction was
I'm
wrong.
agreeing with you.
And Perez still out there. Is he just gonna wait to get overtaken at this point? Because like who is gonna be within striking distance in 2 laps is Hamilton on Perez. Like. Ooh, he had to lock up there.
Yeah, dude. What is he doing?
And those tires are like
What is
hanging on by a thread.
Who was that? That was wild.
Cost him about a second and a half, by the way.
You're really not supposed to do that. Like if you're in last place and the lead cars behind you, pitted or not, like you don't do that.
Hamilton,
That's
5
really
seconds. 5 seconds to the lead car. Verstappen 4 seconds behind that, and Bottas 2 seconds behind that one. So, yeah, I don't know what Red Bull's doing.
Well, he's going plan A plus 10, so it was whatever the plan was plus 10 laps. Like I said, they can really only bank. They can bank on throwing them on the like softs or mediums, have them go as fast as possible, and maybe catch them, or they're literally leaving out there and just hoping for a yellow flag or something.
Like, so if you assume plan A is similar to what Verstappen does, he pitted at 36. So it was between, let's do plus or minus a lap, 35 to 37, and now you're at 47. So plan A plus 10 is now.
It should be.
So plan A plus 1.5, like plus 10.5.
Back
like,
Jack, you're welcome, of course, for the stream and everything. That for everybody, don't forget to just follow and sub and watch it also on YouTube. We appreciate everybody hanging out. It's always a pleasure. Oh, I'll put Discord back in. I always forget.
Wow, Bottas actually faster in the corners. This was the what we were saying before. It was just hard for Verstappen to make up time anywhere on the track, although he still is holding Bottas off. Norris saying he's flat out doing what he can.
He's got 32 seconds.
He's 33 seconds behind.
I mean, what do you get if you're him? What do you like? I would have the same response from my dude, shut up. Like,
you need a yellow flag. You need a yellow flag at this point.
It says it right there on his steering wheel. He knows what the gap is. He's not dumb. I'd just be like, dude, leave me alone.
Hamilton is chasing down here. 3 seconds now.
I mean, he is just eating
Booking.
him. Yeah.
Well, this is what I'd be saying. Look at that lap. 46 which was the one that had the little mishap there.
I'm surprised Perez. Like, this is actually just kind of an accomplishment within itself.
That Perez is still alive
that
out
Perez
there.
is like actually still. Yeah, that his tires are still on the car.
His tires are still on the car. 48.
I mean, that's insane. His tires actually don't even look visibly that bad.
Well, I think we would need to go into the slow-mo. Actually, you can see there on the track. Look on the left side of the track there.
Yeah, you can see that
all
they're
the rubber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see the tires behind him, and I mean, he's totally going to get past, but it's just.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna go back into fourth essentially.
I mean, does it? Yeah, so I guess if you're Red Bull here, you're looking at the gap with basically Verstappen, and Perez is under investigation.
No. That was
it's the Mazepin and the Perez thing that we were saying that was kind of egregious. Oh, but what's he gonna do for Mazepin? Send him back 2 laps? Like, he's already behind. There's a Ricardo Gasly here, and another just poor day for Ricardo. Actually,
no, he manages to get it
he
back.
Actually made it back. I thought that was going to go the other way.
He is in 9th, but he is being pursued by Alonso there. 1 second is the gap between Ricardo 9th and 10th.
And let's see if Alonso's going to have enough speed here to be able to get on the AlphaTauri, and he's going to be able to get past Gasly right there, and he does. Hamilton here. Rear limited with this car with these tires.
Doesn't really matter though, because the gap between
matters.
second and third has doubled.
Because everybody is going through the same thing.
Actually, sorry, 4 seconds between second and third. I'm adding the 2.
Also, once again, we have proven the AWS was wrong. It has been at least more than 2 laps, and Bottas is not within striking distance.
I mean, I guess so. Okay, so if you're Red Bull, you gambled because you left Perez out there, hoping there would be a yellow flag that you could come in and pit. You haven't gotten it.
Here's the other thing for Perez.
A second and a half. He overtakes in the next 2 laps, almost guaranteed.
The other thing here is that no, there's no way. Verstappen would catch Perez at the end. What I'm saying is basically like the only reason to pit Perez would be if he can't stay above Bottas and Verstappen. So like Red Bull sitting there is like, if he can actually hold second for 16 more laps, it's more points. But if we pit him, then there's no way he'll ever catch Bottas, and then we're just stuck with fourth.
Right, but it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But that's kind of what they're sitting there like, And that is the communication. They have taken my advice. They're going to extend Perez, and they're going to keep him out there. But then Hamilton's going to make the move, and Lewis Hamilton will take first place in Portugal with 15 laps to go.
Yeah, well, I said Hamilton's overtaken within 2 laps. It only took 1, so there you go. Yeah, and at this point, you basically have to pit him. Hamilton had the fastest sector 1 time here, 23.3 seconds. It's not even close. Not even close, really, at the moment.
Yeah, because the Perez, now I'm trying to look to the gap to the actual Verstappen. No, it's
5
just,
seconds.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah, Perez is now pitting.
Yeah.
He's got 40 seconds.
Oh, and Alonso makes a move, the veteran there on Ricardo. I'm telling you, man, Ricardo's just tough day at the office.
Tough day at the office.
Sucks.
Well, Red Bull gambled. It didn't pay off.
Yeah, Red Bull gambled doesn't pay off. But ultimately, what do they lose? Like, not much.
3 points, maybe. Maybe a bit more, actually. But
yeah, because he's still going to end up in fourth, so he doesn't really lose it. Now,
unless
the interesting part is Bottas is under 1 second. or
Let's
close to under
see.
1 second. Sorry, that was actually a decent pit
Okay,
stop
so
there for
they put him
Perez.
on softs.
2.6.
They put him
Yeah,
on
and they're
softs.
gonna send him out as fast as he can. So
Yeah.
there is a time penalty for Mazepin. Not surprised. He literally almost killed Perez.
Ran Perez off the road there.
Yeah, like not surprised at all.
Right. So Perez does get ahead of Norris.
And no way Perez makes up 23 seconds
yeah,
on softs.
it's 25 seconds worth actually.
Yeah, no shot.
In he's only got 14 laps to do it, so unless we have some incident in the back of the pack, where I'm trying to see like who is actually close enough that they
to
might
cause an incident.
to cause an incident.
It's 9 through 12. It's the Alonso, Ricardo, Gasly trio that have been like swapping back and forth this entire time.
Maybe,
to be honest
yeah.
with you, we've been calling them and they've been just passing each other the whole time.
Yeah. So because Alonso, the gap between 8th and 9th, which is Sainz in the Ferrari and Alonso there, is 3.3. But then Ricardo is 1.6, Gasly is 0.8 behind that, and then you have Vettel about 4 seconds behind that. So you don't really have much going on there. And 15, 16, 17 is just out. Yeah, so it would have to be something like this 8, 9, 10 area. Maybe 11th right now. 9, 10, and 11 is kind of where something might happen.
Interesting. Give it another go with the battery.
With the battery. Hamilton putting in another fast lap here. He's putting into the purples. Purple parses. Tire
Here's
compound.
Horner,
Tires the
yeah.
same for the cars in the top 3. All on hards. It's only Perez on the softs. He only has to go about 14 laps anyway. They're talking here on the radio, right?
Yeah, they're talking to Horner. The thing I don't really fully understand is why is tire temperature now such a big problem when like in Imola we never talked about it.
Well, I don't think the Imola track was 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
But this is about to getting them up to temperature, so they want them to be hot.
Well, yeah, so you're trying to get it there faster. I don't know. Imola was also wet, so.
Well, yeah, that also is a valid statement. I mean, I guess it's just differences in tracks and stuff, but it's just kind of odd. It's like, why are we having this conversation now when we never had this conversation kind of before?
Trying to see what Gasly can hit here on this straightaway. 201, I saw was the top speed.
Yeah,
about more or less what we had seen earlier. We saw 200 from Verstappen earlier, so yeah, that straightaway pretty good.
You're Verstappen on the radio. He's saying that the pace is good and he's still got to keep pushing. He's actually extending the lead on Bottas here.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, it went from 1.3
it went from 1.9 to
4.8. So actually, the gap between second and third is about the same as it is from first to second at the moment. All 3 of these top 3 cars racing their own race in clean air, more or less.
Yeah, the tires work bad on the cold temps, 100%. But like in Bahrain, it was in the middle of the night, and it definitely wasn't as hot.
Yeah.
So it just and then Bottas here is saying he's losing power, and I think we can tell because of his times.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that's something to do with the energy or the recharge of the batteries and not being used effectively, or straight up just it does not have an engine mode.
I'd have to say it'd be a bit disappointing here for Bottas to like have pole position and come in.
This stinks.
Come in third here today.
Oh,
I
that's a
mean,
tough lock up
oh
there.
yeah, there's the not that finishing third is particularly a bad outcome, but he
Yeah,
did
but if you're
have
pole,
pole.
you
Yeah,
yeah.
he did have pole. He got eaten up by Verstappen, or and then by Lewis.
He basically lost all his one-on-one battles.
Yeah, he did basically.
As terrible as it sounds, it's kind of true. The amount of speed they carry into that is insane. It's from 200 into 130 miles an hour and then down to 80, back up to what? It's just bonkers.
So very interesting heads-up display here.
Perez is going to go with the fastest lap there, and I'm
Sort of kind
assuming.
of
I mean, he
interesting.
does have the he does have the softs,
Yeah.
so it makes sense. They're going to be able to get that extra point.
Ah, yes, good point. Yeah, they will be able to get the extra point for fastest lap, 120.6, which is about 4/10 faster than anybody else so far.
It
The
is like
previous
two
fastest lap
seconds.
was still in the 121s,
It's like 2 seconds slower than all of the qualifying laps.
but there's still a mess. I mean, he's 23 seconds behind. He just wasn't going to catch.
Giovinazzi's going to make the move on Vettel, and he's going to be able to complete the move on the veteran.
Yeah, clean actually here.
Nice there for the coveted and coined probably future Ferrari driver in the Alfa Romeo driver program, which is part of the Ferrari driver program.
Let's see. Does he go for the Hamilton pass or the Verstappen pass? He goes for the Verstappen around the outside. Seems like the
Yep,
popular play today.
take the longer route, but you can carry the most speed out of that through
So
there
much
and
speed
goes
going
through
through
there.
that. So much speed. Yeah, Perez fastest lap still.
And it
So
still doesn't seem like Perez is going to even be able to get close to Bottas.
no.
I mean, we saw that basically starting in at like 26 seconds. Now it's down to 23, so it doesn't
Well,
really that matter there. The gap from Hamilton Verstappen is still 5 seconds. I think Hamilton's just straight up he's just quicker at this point. And then Bottas, when losing that power, that extra power, I think that's also affected him. And the gap between all of them is around 5 seconds. So no really close fights between them all.
So we saw Perez put in a 120 lap, but then the lap right next after it was 122. So he basically went all out for a lap and couldn't do it again. So the gap hasn't really changed. And then, Fran, as you were saying, 5 second interval between Hamilton and Verstappen at the moment, as we're about 8 laps from the finish. And we kind of saw this in the battle with Bottas, and you'd kind of, because it's another Mercedes, you kind of apply it across, right? That just Verstappen's car didn't seem to be able to gain
Yeah, it just
anywhere
can't.
on the track against the Mercedes today. Um, he did have the fortune of a better pit crew, which put him within striking
Yeah, I
distance.
mean, so like, yeah, so it was interesting because you were like, if you're Bottas, are you kind of disappointed?
Yeah.
Are you more disappointed in yourself, or are you also disappointed in your crew because the crew didn't do him any favors?
A full
At all.
second behind. It was 2.3 second pit for the Red Bull, 3.3 seconds for the Mercedes. The gap going into the pits was about 1.2, 1.3, and Verstappen comes out on top. And there's going to be a pass here. The Alpine.
Wow, the Alpine Sainz is getting eaten alive in this past one. He's gotten the Alpine is showing up today. The French, I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah, Ocon
Nice.
and Alonso into 7th and 8th.
They've figured something out in that car. That car is performing way better than it has in recent weeks, and the Haas is going to lock up there. They're right next to the Williams.
Norris seems to be
Schumacher.
in decent spot in
yeah, I
fifth
think
here.
Norris is comfortable there in 5th.
3.5 seconds behind Norris is Leclerc in the Ferrari, making up a little bit of ground. Tire difference between those two cars, but not much else. He's got 7 laps to do it. Might be an interesting battle there between Norris and Leclerc before all is said and done. Leclerc putting in slightly faster lap times by about a tenth. Yeah, see the difference though between this one and there's a lot more space to spread out here on this
Yeah,
track than there was in
that's kind of what
Imola.
I was saying.
That's for
How
sure.
they're all kind of it's more lined up. It's like they're
Yeah.
all kind of in a necessary order throughout the track. And like obviously, like duh, like they're going to be in an order, but like they can just like spread out. In Imola, they were like
On top of each other.
on literally on top of each other.
Yeah, as Russell and Bottas found out.
And yeah, Bottas there complaining that he doesn't have his top line speed. It would be interesting to actually see the miles per hour, see if he's getting up to 200.
Yeah, they didn't give it to us here, unfortunately. Oh, well, they gave it to us late.
Oh yeah, at
Oh,
the end,
come
tight.
on.
I
That's lame. There's a bit
I
of a
can't
straightaway here,
tell.
173.
Yeah, but I forget what the average was for this straight. I mean, yeah. Still, ultimately, you got to say, I'm greatly disappointed in the Aston Martins today.
Let's see, where
13
are
and
they going to end up?
14th.
13 and 14th. Yeah.
Speaking of which, here's Vettel trying to make a move on his teammate. Or Stroll passing Vettel, my bad. Able to easily just skirt right in front of him.
Well, might not have any drama here
Yeah, it
unless
doesn't
there
look
is
like there's gonna be
drama.
any this crazy photo finish type sort of deal. I mean, the closest.
Well, at this point, right, you can end a race under caution, right? So
Yeah, you can end it technically under yellow, so
yeah.
you should be
So at
fine.
this point, it would be too late, probably. It's gonna be what looks like a 1-2 between Hamilton and Verstappen. So the points between them still close overall. We had Hamilton won the first one, Verstappen won it last time out, and
Oh,
Hamilton might
interesting.
win it again here today. What's that? Frank is thinking.
Yeah, so basically the idea right now with Mercedes is trying to eke out as many points as possible, right? So if you look at the gap to Perez, it's 27 seconds. You typically lose 25 seconds on a pit. So they're basically telling Bottas is like push as much as you can, open up the gap from Perez. We'll throw you on the softs, go for this fastest lap, and you'll still keep third, but you'll get an extra points.
So they might try to take an extra point. Interesting.
Now, let's see if he gets griefed again by his pit team, though.
Yeah, and then he goes, and then he
team
drops into third.
Yeah, exactly. Would drop him.
Dropped into fourth.
Would be fourth. Yeah. So would have to have a lot of trust in his team there.
So it looks like Perez just put in the fastest lap. So
yeah, Paris has held the fastest lap because he went all out on that one and he got it. Yeah, and Perez is going to go for the fastest lap on this one as well.
I would think it's too risky as Mercedes. Too
Yeah,
risky.
I think it's really close. It's really close.
Well, the gap is 28 now, so actually the gap's bigger.
To 3 seconds.
No, there's a 28 second gap.
Yeah, I'm saying
so
3 seconds to 25, so got a 3 second leeway.
Well, it's about 2. I think he's going to get grief for at least a second.
Yeah. But it also depends. Perez is about to push for fastest lap here again, so
I mean, if you're going to do it, you have to do it now. You got 3 laps to go.
Now. Yeah, you have to get him on because you got to let him warm up the tire. I don't think they're going to do it.
No.
I don't think so.
Some final
Mick
shifting
nice
around.
Yeah. Got it on the Canadian Latifi.
I mean, Ricardo, if he wanted to make a move, now would be the time to do it. He's got a second.
I know
to
Gasly's going to
Sainz.
try to push hard to be able to get into the points there, definitely.
Yep, 1.6 seconds is Gasly behind Ricardo at the moment.
Here's Mick looking like his dad. Nice. Well, I mean, I also probably could have made that pass considering he like blocked up. But fair enough, yeah. The gap's 29. I would have done it.
The gap got bigger.
I would have totally done it.
They are, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it with 3 laps left.
Hire me, Mercedes. Call me Toto.
They're gonna do it with 3 laps left here. You're gonna see it, the live board there on the left. It's a bit ahead of the broadcast feed. All right, so we said 3 seconds, right? Was going to be the gap.
Bucks.
Let's see. He
don't
needs what? A
screw him.
2.5? Max
He needs under 3 seconds.
3.3?
He needs under 3 seconds.
2.7. All right, they got it.
That was money. He needed that one earlier in the race.
Yep.
Would have held his spot. Also, pretty interesting how they downshift while.
Now Perez has just made the turn onto the straightaway. We think he's going to end up
right
clear. There. He's good. He's
totally
way clear.
Fine.
He's way clear.
Yeah. He's totally good. Even with the full lap. Yeah.
Yep, so they switched him onto softs.
Well, yeah. Wind has, they said it picked up, but I am looking at our wind tracker and it doesn't look like it's picked up.
It has not picked up.
Unless they have better radars than we do. But I think we're all looking at the same thing. So
also an interesting play, Verstappen into the pit. He's going to try to go for the fastest
lap as well. And also Ricardo does make the move on Sainz to be able to move up. We did call it. He was eventually going to have to do it, and he does do it.
Yeah, that was less than a second there. So you have Ricardo.
Let's hopefully Verstappen doesn't get griefed by his pit team.
Gasly, by the way, that you called wanting to get into the points is only about a second behind Sainz. It would kick the Ferrari out.
Pit stop there for Verstappen.
1.9 for Verstappen.
Jesus.
Wow, what a pit stop.
My God.
He's got 2 laps basically to get it done.
Well,
you have to beat.
He's got to warm up the tire. He's got to warm up the tires on this one. So
120.9 is essentially the time to beat here.
Bottas is carrying his speed in for this one. He's going to Bottas is going to be able to get 2 hot laps in here. Also, for some reason, the live map shows Alfa Romeo in the middle of the track, but. Gasly here, gap to Sainz. I mean, Sainz
got him.
Very close to seeing. Yeah, is very close to seeing his race just vanish right in front of him.
Yeah, and he got him. Sainz is out. The Ferrari is out of the top 10 there. The second of the 2 Ferraris. Sainz into 11th. Perez still with the fastest lap.
Interesting. Hamilton saying, should we box and go for the fastest lap since everybody else has done it? But obviously, in this position, you're good. Let Bottas try to go for the fastest lap and you just win the race, Lewis.
Yeah, they're basically just trying to.
Sainz is going to basically try to make that move back onto Gasly. That's really the biggest fights that are going to be going on now.
Bottas has fastest lap.
Oh, yeah, he cooked them.
119.8.
That Ferrari just doesn't have the straight line speed. We've been seeing it get eaten up the entire day today on the straights.
1 second faster than the previous fastest lap. Bottas 119.8. Let's see if Verstappen can do it. Verstappen so far on pace. The Sector 1 time is the best we've seen so far. It was 0.4.
Remember that Bottas is still technically setting one.
Yeah, it was 0.4 seconds faster than Bottas' Sector 1 time. Verstappen is also faster through Sector 2 by about 0.4 seconds. What's he going to get in Sector 3? Checkered flag is out.
Oh my God, I forgot to switch my laundry.
Oh, well, that's going to be a problem.
Just remember that.
119.
Hamilton
And
coming
Verstappen
in.
has it. 119.8. 5 thousandths of a second?
Yeah. Verstappen is actually going to get the fastest lap. Bottas doesn't snag it. That is crazy, the margins. Or it should.
Wow, the extra point.
He went hella off the track there, by the way.
It's not going to matter. Bottas doesn't have the pace to retake the fastest lap. Verstappen is going to finish in second, but he will get the fastest lap, 119.849. Wow. Well, they gambled, and it paid off for Red Bull.
And it paid off for Red Bull there. Those extra points, and Perez also getting fourth there. Not really a bad day for them, to be completely honest with you.
Yep, not too bad. Vettel last dash against his teammate.
Yeah,
Let's see.
he's got
Vettel
0.6 on it, but he doesn't. I don't think he's going to be able to pass him there on it.
No, I think we have the finals here. Checkered flags across. All right, the top 10. Hamilton, Verstappen with the fastest lap. Bottas, Perez, Norris, Leclerc, Ocon, Alonso. Not a bad day for the Alpines, friend. 7th and 8th. Ricciardo, Gasly, and Sainz finds himself out of the points in 11th.
Sorry, I was checking something. I lost.
What'd you lose?
Hold on. I lost everything. 1 second.
Verstappen, that started third, ends up in second as Bottas, who started on the pole, slides into third.
That overall, not the worst thing for Red Bull, but as you can tell, they're pretty pissed about it, obviously.
Not bad, not bad. I mean, once Hamilton got out in front, though, it was kind of over.
So I would say this was the less exciting race of the season so far in terms of craziness and like things going on and all that jazz. But overall, this was more of a tactical kind of drawn out race, which was kind of interesting to see. I think this was the first time we really got to see. I feel like this track it really shows off the car in the sense of like, this is where we actually know what these cars are made of. I think it makes sense what we actually saw out of Mercedes. Mercedes is starting to make those tweaks, and it's clear that they are straight up the fastest car. And it's obvious from this track here that the Red Bull just couldn't keep up.
Could not keep up. It could not keep up in the corners or in the straightaway. And it wasn't even that the Red Bull couldn't keep up with the Hamilton's car. It couldn't even really keep up with Bottas's car, although it did fend him off when he was in third. All right. Well, that's it. No red flags today, so over and done with rather quickly.
Also, if anybody is wondering, Man United fans have actually stormed Old Trafford, and the game between Liverpool and Manchester United is delayed.
Oh, well, there you
go. This is quite interesting. They have literally taken over the pitch, protesting. Okay, yeah, different sport, but also an international sport. And I'm assuming most people
actually,
see, I told you, I was right. He went off the track.
It's
Bottas's. I told you.
Wow. Verstappen's fastest lap gets deleted. That's twice. He got deleted in qualifying too. Yeah. Oh, that feels bad.
The qualifying one, not that avoidable. This one was avoidable. He went way off the track on that one. He totally did not need to, in my opinion. But I don't think anybody's told him yet.
No, I don't think anybody's told him.
And I don't think I want to be there when anybody tells him.
That's unfortunate. So it will be the Bottas time by about a couple hundredths. I mean, look, it was within.
It was like 100
thousands. It's not even hundreds. It's within thousands.
So it honestly does make a difference. I mean, it really does. Think about that. Like, if you're able to get that 1 more mile an hour of speed in the corner to go through, it totally is. It's totally valid to chalk off the time.
Thousands is the difference there.
I want someone to tell Max. I want to see the reaction. Now that there's no actual need to go watch the next sporting event of the day,
There you go.
considering we have a protest inside the stadium.
I kind of want to. I hope there's like, is it live? I kind of just want to see.
No, the pictures are just commercials right now.
Oh.
I just opened up Twitter and was like, why is the game not on?
Well,
Like
there you go.
it's 0-0 and it hasn't started. It was supposed to kick off, and that was kind of the rationale. So yeah, this when's sorry, we gotta tell you the next race when we're
Yeah,
back.
next. When are we going? Oh, here's Verstappen. They're going to tell him about the lap.
Did they tell him? I wonder. Yeah, car not fast enough. Awkward.
Second fast. What did he say?
Goes, oh, really? Okay. That's a bit odd.
That's an awkward interview.
That's an awkward. That's really awkward. But okay, so this is why he's actually right. Because throughout the race, when people are racing that, they were going out of the track limits, but it's technically not for time, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not for a point.
He did say they weren't monitoring that during the race.
Yeah, they totally did it throughout. I mean, I saw the turn. I mean, we were looking at turn 14 multiple times. The camera angle is always there. People were definitely going off of it, but they only get involved like if it's for the fastest lap or you're overtaking someone.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like.
Well, that is, as Chat pointing out, at least it didn't go to Lewis.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Lewis was never really in contention with that one because he didn't have the soft tires. It was really only the 3 and 2, 3, and 4 that were looking for it. So, actually, this does open up quite a bit of a gap. It was a 1-point gap coming into today, and is now an 8-point gap there with Lewis 69 points to Verstappen's 61 for the drivers' championship.
It's close. It's
still close.
Not wrapped up.
I mean, basically, you could flip it again, right, and say like, Verstappen wins the next one, and they just keep flipping back and forth. So, next one actually is a week from today.
There we go, and we are going to be in Barcelona.
Barcelona, which is not far from Portugal. They're right next.
It's going to be an easy trip for everybody, and this one is going to be an hour earlier for you this time.
Oh my God, what? We'll have to see. Hopefully I'm able to get out of bed. I got my second COVID shot that Saturday. We'll see.
That is true.
Yeah, and then Monaco after that, but. At least I won't have to drive back and forth from Portland. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for us this morning.
Yep,
here.
I'll leave the stream up on Discord for a little bit so you can watch the interviews and all that. But that will wrap it up for us in this F1 weekend. Thank you. This was a fantastic race. A little less exciting than most of them, but they were still overall. It was a great race. It was awesome, and the points are still, and the championship is still in the balance, which is what we care about.
There we go. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care. We'll see you next week in Barcelona. Cheers.